Hi everybody, welcome back to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel for our second edition of Post-Match Patter. It's our second edition, Deka. It's our second loss of the season.
It's post-match problems, that's what it is.
That's what we should change the name to.
We should change it until we
win. People who are new to the channel, what we do on this one, it is just a quick reaction of our thoughts and opinions on the match that's just gone by. We travelled down to the Midlands, Aston Villa, a ground where their fans get a lot of pleasure from beating Newcastle United. And here we are once again on the losing side.
Yeah. Well, you could see it the day, couldn't you? They were loving it, weren't they? They were loving every single minute of it. And listen, fair enough, right? We would love it if we beat them. But the manner of the defeat was dreadful. It was dreadful, wasn't it? It was very, very, very poor performance. I mean, in the previous game, at least I felt we had a good first half, and I felt we had some positives, even though we got hammered in the end. This was just a really, really poor day at the office. Like, it was dreadful all over the pitch.
I think once again, though, you're looking at that game similar to the West Ham game. We started quite positive, and Wilson gets that chance early on, and I'm betting my life savings, all £2.42 of it, on Wilson hitting the back of the net with that shot.
Yeah.
And honestly, from that point, I thought, not our day. It's not going to be our day.
Yeah, well, to be fair, after the first 10 minutes, we looked okay. And in fairness, we've said it a lot, haven't we, over a couple of seasons? Like, we've started well the first 10 minutes, and then it normally goes to shit. Like, he should score. You can't deny that. I mean, he's 1-on-1 with the keeper. Could have went round him. He could have done all sorts of stuff. I mean, he's beaten the keeper. Even you can see by his reaction, he's frustrated and devastated. He's missed. Like, he should score.
He could have walked round the keeper.
Him. That's what I thought. Yeah. But in goals change games. I mean, it's an old saying. Like, but you go 1-0 up so early. Does that change anything? Who knows? But I mean, other than that, we didn't have a shot at goal, did we?
Well, we didn't have a shot on target. Yeah, we didn't have a shot on target, and it's. I don't know how I feel about it. Of course, the football, it was pretty dreadful at times. But then once again, there's an odd glimpse of entertaining football from the likes of Sane, where he gets the ball. But I think he tried it a few times and he done quite well. But then his head went down, and when Sane's not in it, the rest of the team, and I think, I'm not sure who it was, but somebody in our WhatsApp group said that it seemed like Wilson wanted to be more of a shithouse than a footballer today.
He was really frustrated.
He was getting stuck in, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was leaving things on players and all the rest of it, and he's just getting frustrated because, let's be fair, I mean, look at the service to them. I mean, other than the chance that all it was a long ball, by the way, and he's muscled out their defender. Other than that, we never create a single chance for him.
Yeah.
And I know you look at Sane, and every time Sane gets the ball, Villa did very well. They just put 3 around him. So he's having to try and beat 2s and 3 players every time he gets the ball. Almiron, I mean
missing.
That's just missing. But again, that's arguably because of the way Bruce plays him or plays the team. I mean, the lineup itself. I mean, pleased, right? Were you pleased?
So when I put that group in our Gallowgateshots WhatsApp group, everybody saying that's pretty much our strongest team apart from goalkeeper choice, and I was unbelievably hopeful going into that game. I really was, and I thought we'll probably win this one. I thought we would have won it, and that's not me being overconfident and big-headed about this team, but I thought on paper you would hope there was a better performance than that.
Well, them also had some big players out, didn't they? Villa as well, and I knew it was going to be a difficult game, but when I seen the lineup, I thought, well, definitely causing problems. That's what I felt. You're right about the goalkeeper. Listen, Shelby as well. I still say that. Everyone's on about getting them out of the midfield. All right, fair enough. But I always look at who is going to be the replacement. And we're just so bad in that area of the field, right? We're just shocking, no matter who we're playing there. But after the first 10 minutes, though, like we've just got nothing, have we? Other than give it to Saint and let's hope something happens. We never have any passage of play where we really look like we've got an idea. I also really criticised today the lack of intensity. There was none. Villa were snapping into challenges.
The only intensity came when we're 2-0 down.
Yeah. We actually did play average kind of well after the 2-0, but the damage is done, right?
Yeah.
The damage is done.
Of course it is. We'll get straight on to the opening goal. I was watching this with one of my friends, Adam, and I said, because we had a discussion about Lascelles, and I said, yes, Lascelles, when he's out of the team, you can tell he's out of the team. But when he's on the field, there's always a mistake in there. and you're going in at half time there with bang on almost 45 minutes, and that clearance that he makes, he's not really in any danger. He's got all the time and all the room behind him to do whatever he wants with that, and he just slices the ball into the stands. There we go, half time, long throw, flicked on, and Ings has got all the time in the world for that overhead kick.
Yeah, I mean, you've summed it up. I mean, I said, when was it last week? Sorry, on the last post-match part, I said about how I don't particularly had this argument with Clark, and Kraft, that I don't really feel they're good enough, to be quite honest with you. And I said that equally though, bringing ourselves back in the team, he's an alien when he has the ball at his feet. He makes Dummett look good. I said exactly that last week. And as you said again, I mean, this is the Premier League, man. This is apparently the best level of football that you can play. And he cannot deal with the ball at his feet. And you're right, he had all the time in the world. He slices out a play. Now, also to mention, I think it was only 5 minutes before that we'll give a throw-in away or something. And they did the same thing. They threw it to Mings, and we got away with it. You know what's coming. You know that they've got a long throw with a second to go in the first half. They're going to throw it to Mings. And as you say, we're miles off him. We're miles off Ings, aren't we? We're miles, 6-7 feet away from him. Great finish. You can't take anything away from him there.
It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic finish. It really is. But anybody that's got the time in the world for an overhead kick inside of the box, we had every single one of our players in that box.
Yeah.
I look back at the screenshot and all 11 players are in our box.
And they're all equally the same amount of distance away from the man that scored the goal, which is just not on. It's just... And it's an awful time to concede, isn't it? The worst possible time to concede. But they probably deserved it. If I'm being honest, we couldn't handle them. I didn't think for many parts in the first half. And I say it again, intensity, work rate, we were just passengers half the time.
And I don't think Villa are a fantastic team. But like you said, they did deserve to go on and win the game. But if you look at their gameplay, it's triangles. They're doing triangles past our players. And those times where ours was going up to Miggy, and I don't know what it is with Miggy, because he starts driving forward, then he thinks, hang on a second, then he stops, then just starts coming back over, and I'm thinking that's just every bit of momentum gone out of the attack there. And the similar to midfielders, they're exactly the same. I thought Joe Willock today, obviously it's his first start this season, obviously we brought in just last week there, and I think he was busy, and he found himself in the box a few times. And the thing is, we had opportunities, and I think Willock done one of these where the ball's just cut across, right across goal, and there's just nobody there. And there isn't, and there was a few balls coming in, and you're looking at inches away from a player connecting on it. And that's Newcastle United. We can't find ourselves on the end of one of those balls.
No, I agree. I thought Willock was quite tidy in the first half, made some good runs as well, actually. To be fair, the first half was quite end-to-end to a degree, and there's
not the West Ham game.
A lot of challenges flying in. It was a really gritty game. It was like, I didn't think we played well in it. I just mean it was a kind of both teams were up for it in a sense. But my biggest gripe with it is that when the game's going away from we can't seem to adjust, can we, though? Our manager doesn't want to change it tactically to try and adjust, and we as a team can't adjust. The first 10 minutes were okay, but once the opposition gets on top of we can't do anything about it. And it happens time and time again. And we came out in the second half. It was dire the second half, really. Until, and as you say, maybe until it went 2-0. Which we'll come on to. We did get a little bit better. But
well, I had a discussion once again with my pal that I was watching the game with. And in that first half, I thought, the referee's letting quite a bit go here.
It was, yeah.
But then all of a sudden, I'm not sure who the first player was to get booked. Was it Wilson?
It was, yeah. Because I tried to put money on it, and he got booked before I did. Because he was going to get booked.
Yeah, of course he was. And if Wilson was getting booked, you probably think, Ings, I do apologise if anybody can hear like a child. My son is playing on Fortnite over there. I've asked him to be quiet, and he's clearly not. So hang on a second.
Nolan, quiet.
Sorry about that. But Ings could have easily been booked at the same time because it was just a scuffle in the box. And from that moment, I thought the referee was stopping everything, absolutely everything. Yeah. And Saint was fouled a couple of times. Booking should have easily gone down that case. And I don't know. I'm not obviously blaming the referee for obviously the bookings, because they probably were right in regards to if you're booking the likes of Mings at the same time as Wilson. But I don't know. I think the referee in that second half, he stopped a lot of gameplay.
Well, yeah, it's funny when in the first half he's letting so much go, and then he's going to go and have a word with his kid. But in the first half he's letting so much go in the game. But then as the game goes on, he's now pulling you up for every single foul that's being given. I mean, Saint got one given where Saint has literally just turned. And all right, his hand did hit the guy, but I mean, come on, there's no intention there. Saint literally just turned around and hit the lad, and he gives a free kick.
But then like that first of all,
and then 2 minutes later, I think Saint got absolutely rinsed. Now given, you're like, come on, do you know what I mean? But I mean, I don't know. I just the problem I've got, and the reason why I'm stuttering what I'm saying is I don't know how you put it right because of what we've got. I mean, that is the strongest team that we can play. Other than a goalkeeper, the poor goalkeeper, he's conceded 6 goals in 2 games. He can't think out about any of them.
I know.
You know what I mean? There's nothing he can do about the goals.
He's had to face 2 penalties,
and he hasn't really. He didn't put a foot wrong because he wasn't asked to do anything.
Nah.
So it's a funny one. I mean, they only had 2 shots on target, I believe, and both were goals.
They did, yeah.
But it's just how much we're not in a game, and as I said again, we can't adapt. We can't adapt in game. We set up our shop the way it is, and we don't change. No matter if we're 2-0 down, 2-0 up, 8-0 down, we don't change. We are just what we are, and it's just not good enough.
So second goal, obviously it's a penalty, and right. So of course, Lascelles' arm is a unnatural position. It is, but the distance between the ball being struck and Lascelles' arm, you're looking at that. It's not a huge amount. If that's at the other end, I'm screaming for it. I'm not going to lie. Of course I am. But then surely it needs to change. That rule needs to change because what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a harsh one. I think I've seen a few arguments which made a good point that his hand was already in that area. So his hand was before Mings even had the header, because I think it was Mings that had the header. Before he even has the header, Lascelles' arm's already there. So, I mean, what can he do? Chop his arm off? I mean, I'm not really sure. But having said that, I always have to look at it the other way. Of if it was us down the other end, I'd probably say a penalty. I probably would scream for one. Yeah. So it's if I'm saying that in one breath, I kind of have to. It just summed up his afternoon up though, didn't it? It just summed his game up. I mean, he sliced one out for the potential first goal, if you like, and then did that. But it's a harsh one. It is a bit harsh, I think. Yeah, it is a bit harsh. Because the only point I'm trying to make is that his hand was already there before even the header or the shot or whatever has even happened. It's already there. It's not as if he's raised his arm towards the ball to stop it from going in. It's already there. So,
yeah. So we'll move on. Obviously, they're 2-0 up. Then that's when we start playing football. That's when we start attacking a lot more than what we were. And we think we get this penalty. Okay. Yeah. Clear penalty. Of course it is.
It could be a red card.
Yeah. I think it's not like double
jeopardy. Possibly.
Does that even exist? Or God knows. But obviously the goalkeeper got booked. The goalkeeper went down holding his head. Obviously trying to influence the referee. Yeah. It's clear as day penalty. But then we'll go back and it's checked for offside. Then as soon as those screenshots come on, I'm looking at him thinking, yeah, he's offside. But on the way in there, you showed me a couple of photos from Fernandez.
The Norwich game. Sorry, I don't know what game it was.
Was last week.
Last week, yeah.
So Fernandez last week. And his goal got ruled onside.
Onside, yeah.
And the distance between him and the defender is a lot larger than what it is between Wilson. Yeah. Obviously and running Mings through and in the box. Yeah. Once again, we're told that there's going to be an improvement in VAR. The lines are going to be thicker. It's not going to be as tough and ruled out against, and it's got to be clear and obvious that this is getting used for. Was the first penalty, which was awarded to Aston Villa, was that a clear and obvious mistake by the referee?
Well, I'd have to probably say no because I'm already on the fence even thinking about how to answer that. So I'd have to say, if it was clear and obvious, I would have said straight away. I'd probably say that was maybe the right decision.
Okay.
Personally.
I'm glad the referee went to actually see it himself.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm glad he went. He took a while to make a decision.
Yeah, he did.
But that first video that I saw, I thought he's going to give it straight away.
Yeah.
Didn't need to see it from any of the angles. Didn't need to see it slowed down. Yeah. I just thought the way the rules are at the minute, it's a penalty all day long.
Yeah.
With the Wilson one, I don't know how to take that one. I really don't, because once again, it's VAR just taking and scratching goals out where you're looking at X amount of years ago. It's always a striker that gets advantage. And it's a decent passage of play as well. Well,
when you think of, when you see something that was only used last week, and bearing in mind both of them incidents are using the same rule or the same rule of thumb, and you see him one get given as a goal and ours is not a foul or it's being given offside, then that's wrong. That is just wrong. Now, don't get us wrong. When I seen the play, I actually, to be honest with you, used the line of the grass. The different shades of grass. I thought, oh my God, he's offside.
Yeah.
But then I kind of thought, well, hang on, there's a thicker line now and all the rest of it. I mean, you're talking. I mean, the picture on VAR looks like he's got size 20 boots.
It looked like that as well. What do you call it? The gap was like that.
It's to be honest, it's a bit harsh, right? It's a bit harsh. Would it have changed the game? I don't think it would have, to be quite honest, even if we had scored. But you never know. You're getting one back. Who knows what might happen? But it's a harsh one, especially when I seen that Fernandez one. You're thinking only last week that got given. Yeah. Ours doesn't. And I'm not saying this is anything about Premier League or anything. I'm just saying it's a bit harsh.
Yeah. Other than that, though, it
was toothless, though, wasn't it? It was toothless.
Again.
I agree with you. After the two went two behind, we did have some better passages of play, which was obvious because Villa were just going to sit off a bit. But even when we were getting in good areas of the field, where final ball was poor, Saint pulled loads back just straight to the Villa shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's frustrating. I still don't believe we're getting enough people in the box anyway.
The stranger thing, which I noticed as well, last week against West Ham at St James's Park, we're passing out from the back. I'm not. I can't even remember off the top of my head if I saw that today. It was a lot of long balls today.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see much either. I don't know if Villa's obviously pressing high and stopping me from doing that. But the only time we look confident on the balls when we're going backwards. It sounds ridiculous to say, but we'll pass it around the back as if we're bloody Man City and then just go back to the goalkeeper. And there's just no. There is no plan, is there? There's no plan in a game. The plan is give it to Saint or perhaps Miggy occasionally and hope them will sprint up the field. And we've said this 2 years ago. We've said this longer than that, you know what I mean? But it just doesn't give me any hope. There's no positives of that game, in my opinion, at all. It's worrying.
Well, we've got Southampton coming up next week, if I remember right. We've not got the Burnley game
We've got the Burnley game on Wednesday.
So we've got the Burnley game. And the Burnley game is a sort of game where you'd look at, obviously, cup competition. We're probably going to field a more weakened team out. Do we have a more weakened team? Let's be honest with you. We haven't got much option coming off the bench, and the likes of those rotational players, we don't have a huge amount. Obviously, you probably expect Fraser to start. Joe Linton will probably start.
Yeah, it's a good chance for Fraser to get some minutes. But I agree. I mean, there's not...
Mankiel might make an appearance because he's disappeared off the face of the earth.
I mean, we're goalkeeper. Obviously, Woodman again because we don't have one.
We don't have another goalkeeper.
What you're obviously hoping is you don't get any injuries, right? That's.
I think Gillespie not fit. He is,
possibly, yeah.
So Gillespie will probably start.
For me, I mean, you're looking at the Burnley game as trying to get some confidence into the team. I mean, because I don't want to be too down and out, but like if you get beat off Burnley, right, and then you've got Southampton at home and you get beat there, hold on a second, you got 4 games you've lost. Well, now one's a cup game, but going into the season, you've got West Ham, you've got Villa, you've got Southampton. You're expecting to get a win there,
especially with the games that follow, because you got Man U straight after that.
You get hammered there. I mean, I've said this before, and it turns out we didn't. But like, all I'm saying is what I'm seeing here isn't good, is it? And I still say the formation that he is playing. I'm not bothered about 5 at the back necessarily, because I've harped on and said we should probably play that. But playing Saint through the middle up with Wilson is not. He has to play out wide, and Miggy is a centre midfielder. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You're just losing so much. I mean, you might be putting Miggy in there to try and have legs in midfield, but it's not working.
Yeah,
it's just not working.
Like off the ball, it's like what I said earlier. He seems to run forward, then just stop. I just don't. I can't figure it out. I really can't.
But remember back in the day, I'm not going to say his name, but back in the day, Miggy, we used to would like applaud him for running back and then nicking the ball off a player.
You don't say it.
It doesn't. I never see him do that anymore. And I'm not saying that's his fault. I'm just saying that if he's in midfield to be busy and try and break up play, well, that's not happening.
Yeah,
I don't know who breaks up play for us, if I'm quite honest with you. Or just
what changes though? So going in, if you forget about the Burnley game, obviously with it being the cup game, what changes going in that Southampton game?
New manager? No,
because off the top of my head, I don't have the answer for it.
Well, that's, as I said, I just mentioned before, I am stuttering a bit here because it's tough for me to see what it is would change. I mean, part of us thinks that we need to go with 2 wide men and 1 up front, but that means your midfield maybe even weaker. But I'd much prefer to see Miggy out wide and Saint out wide. Personally, I
agree with that, especially Saint. I'm thinking because there's times where Saint and you notice in the first 10 minutes, it didn't look like he had a position. He was just floating across. But I think going in that Southampton game, you have to go back to basics and go, Saint, get on that white line and just keep on going and do what you do best.
Yeah, we'll have to get him wide. The worry is centre midfield, isn't it? That's me worry. I mean, Hayden obviously went off for Sean Longstaff. Now, I didn't think Hayden played very well at all, to be honest with you. I thought the game just passed him by. we've just got a real issue in that midfield area. I mean, we'll probably see Hendrick on Wednesday, which will be even worse. But it's a difficult one because without changing from 5 at the back, you can't really change much else in front of you. But for me, we'll have to get the team. We've got to get our wingers wide. We've got to get Saint in his natural position. We've either got to get Miggy high up the pitch or at least put him out wide, at the very least. Because playing that formation we're playing at the moment is not working. It's a real worry. And again, what I mean by that is, yes, by all means, you set up that way and start a game. But when you're 2-0 down, okay, right, we'll possibly need to change the formation here. And we don't.
Yeah.
We don't change anything. We'll just take one man off and put another man on the same position.
And once again, Bruce does that thing with a minute to go. And he brings Fraser on.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, why? I know those the 4 minutes added on or something daft like that, but why?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, you've got to give even Fraser must have looked at him and went, a minute, gaffer.
Like, why? I'm dry, yeah. Like,
give us 10 or 15 at least to try and even get warmed up. I mean, he had a chance, right? Didn't he? But, but anyway, I've got no positives or any faith. And I knew it was going to be miserable coming into the season. We all kind of thought that, but today was bad. And it was a very, very similar game. The last time we played Villa, I mean, Grealish ran the show that night, I remember, but
absolutely just tore a new one.
Yeah, just really similar performance. You know what I mean? It's just so bad. It's just so bad. And I haven't got the faith in the people that are in charge to be able to manufacture a plan and sort it out. Because defensively, we're all over the place. We're midfield still absolutely shocking. Anyone saying anything?
So Eric, showing the comment that I've just put on the screen, says Almiron progresses ball forward only to U-turn and pass backwards because his vision is poor. Always was poor. Only good thing about him is that he's fast and he's got great stamina.
He's summed it up. He's fast and got stamina. Yeah, I totally agree. I'd also say there isn't perhaps that many options ahead of him when he does run.
Yeah.
I mean, he is running forward. He may have Wilson.
Callum Lewis puts a comment in saying bring Lewis in for Richie, as Richie will be going up against Pace with Theo Walcott. I think that's probably a good shout for the game against Burnley, giving Lewis another chance there. Julie says, hey, gang. I know Julie's in Newcastle at the minute, so hope you're having a good time. Dashkin, the subs are always late, and most of the time it's the wrong subs, which is probably right.
Time and time again.
Chris Curry says, Deka is bang on. Only change that can fix this is the manager. He's completely out of ideas of what to do with this group.
Well, you can imagine a lot of Villa fans today would be sitting next to each other going, "Oh, I've seen this before from Bruce." You know, I mean, the same.
Glad wipe your hands.
Him. Yeah. They'll be laughing, thinking, like we've seen all this before. And as I say, he just does not change a game when it's not going our way. That's what worries us the most. Is like, listen, there's going to be games of football where it doesn't go your way. I get that, but we have no plan B at all.
Yeah,
none.
No, I think, to be honest, I think people watching that will probably realise how deflated we are with that performance because we were expecting more from the first two games. I think we got away with it last week in regards to the reaction because that first half was a good performance by ourselves. But today, it just wasn't up there and it was not good enough.
It wasn't at all, no. And it doesn't give you any faith moving forward. And as I say, in terms of how we change that, again, I honestly can't really tell you how. It just looks really bad. If I'm being honest with you, I hate to say it and be really negative, but it was so poor at times in that game. And again, I don't know how Bruce would change.
Well, there's a few shouts of Bruce in the comments there, and Bruce. If Bruce was to get sacked, he's not going to get sacked 2 games in the season. Far from it. Not going to happen. And if he was to get sacked, you know what's going to happen. It's just going to be Graham Jones getting appointed as head coach. And that's it. You're not going to bring anybody else in. Yeah. That's all that's going to happen.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I'd probably take that. But I agree.
You probably would take it. Yeah. You probably would. But is it going to change much of what's happening at the moment? Because Graham Jones is already there.
Yeah. No, it needs a full new person or new ideas or whoever. Because as you say, Graham Jones has been there. It's a funny one when we win games, everyone applauds Graham Jones, but obviously we haven't been winning anything, and obviously it lies with all of the staff. I mean, you might say that he's in charge of the attacking staff and the attacking players, but it's a team, it's a staff, it's everyone to blame, and of course one man. We all know Bruce is in charge of that, but we're never going to get rid of him after 2 games.
Yeah.
So.
No, of course not. We'll wrap this one up tonight. We'll get into things a lot more detail tomorrow night. Monday night on the Always Smile Faces podcast. Deka's not going to be there this week.
No, I can't get you.
I shouldn't have told you that because I might not tune in. People are just like you.
They definitely will tune in. I'm not here.
So I think Mark's back on Monday. Oh, they're definitely not going to tune in now.
yeah. No, I mean, I wish I could make it. Like,
So Mark's back on Monday, and we will have 2 other people joining. We don't know who yet, but we'll have 2 of that. Matty was going to be joining with gang, but he's got COVID.
That's right. Yeah,
So Matty's not
get
gonna
well
be,
soon, mate.
Yeah, get well.
soon.
Even though he was on the beers today, in the house, wasn't outside. I was in the house. But yeah, what else have we got coming up? Extra Time was just a few days ago. They spoke about Bruce's interview on BBC Newcastle. Sorry about that, because that's my son screaming in the corner.
He's just watched Bruce's comments after the game.
I'm gonna call it a night before he starts screaming even more for night. Thanks everybody for joining. Great time, and
Enjoy the rest of your
next
weekend.
time.